we're going to address a concern that many have about medbeds, and that's whether they can be used against us by nefarious beings to hack our brains and bodies. If this is of concern, you need to know that they can and have done this already without medbeds. Let's take a look. The human brain operates as a sophisticated electrochemical network that we've talked about many times. It processes information through neural firing patterns, synaptic plasticity, and modulated neurotransmitter systems. The words make them sound impossible to understand, but they aren't. Look at those nerve pathways on the screen. Your body has about 100 billion of them, so it's not like they are a little thing. The nervous system runs the show. But this matrix-like structure makes it susceptible to external interventions that can disrupt, enhance, or subtly redirect cognitive or thought processes. Yes, we're talking about whether our minds can be hacked or not, and I'm here to tell you that they can. They have been. And there's a way to take it back. The military began exploring and exploiting these vulnerabilities during the Cold War, when programs like the CIA's MK-Ultra experimented with LSD, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and electroshock to induce suggestibility, amnesia, or altered states of consciousness. These early efforts exploited the brain's serotonin pathways and neuroplastic responses, the feel-good chemical. They achieved temporary compliance in some subjects, but they fell short of reliable control with many breaking programming. It wasn't just the US, though. The Soviets were conducting psychotronic research with electromagnetic fields, infrasound, and microwaves to influence mood, sleep, or behavior through the entrainment of brain rhythms like alpha and theta waves. This is known as brain entrainment, and there will be lots of related videos in the links for you guys to research this. Always check descriptions. These studies highlighted the brain's sensitivity to forced synchronization of nerve vibrations, and there was some very important findings. In recent decades, advancements in neurotechnology have shifted the focus toward bidirectional brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs. Of course, this has been primarily driven by military needs for human-machine integration, but there are humanitarian uses as well. Elon Musk's Neuralink really scares me, but now that there have been some patients who have received it, I'm warming up to it. So far, 12 people worldwide have received Neuralink brain implants, and they have primarily been people with severe paralysis. In case you don't know how Neuralink works, it's a brain implant that allows the paralyzed person to control tools with their thoughts. With the Neuralink, they can use a computer and smartphones, control robotic arms for daily activities, operate smart home devices, and more. So now I'm looking at these 12 people and thinking, who am I? Nobody is pushing it on me, and is it humane to hold the technology back from millions of people who currently have no quality of life? I don't see Musk rushing to put neural implants in everyone, so yes, it's serious stuff. But I'm not the judge over anybody but myself, and if it can improve the quality of life for people, I'm good with it. I mean, after all, people have been so against this implant, but they are begging for off-world medbeds that also affect our brain activity. But it's one thing to knowingly accept the risks of something. It's completely different when you don't know it's being done to you, especially when it is someone that you've trusted. So I think we need to have a better understanding of what is possible and why we should protect our most precious commodity, our brain. For those that might need it, Neuralink is preparing for higher volume production and automated surgeries starting in 2026, with the goal of helping significantly more patients in the future. Now let's look a little deeper of what can be done to our brains. Next is DARPA's Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology, or N3 program, which wrapped up around 2025 after years of development, really focused on non-invasive methods, using things like nanoparticles, ultrasound, or magnetoelectric transducers to read and write neural signals without the need for surgery. Teams actually explored injectable magnetoelectric nanotransducers that could be magnetically guided to specific brain regions, making it possible for soldiers to control drones or cyber systems just by thinking, while also receiving data directly into their cognition. The principles here rely on inducing currents in neurons or modulating action potentials remotely, which means they can precisely stimulate circuits for enhanced multitasking or even suppress fear responses. And then, even newer initiatives like DARPA's Restore program, which launched in 2025, are using non-invasive neuromodulation to optimize performance under sleep deprivation by boosting synaptic plasticity and cognitive resilience. This doesn't take a PhD, guys. I know they are big words, but the bottom line is that Musk's technology is focused on mitigating human suffering. DARPA's is focused on creating super soldiers with non-invasive measures that can be done without one's knowledge. I would never trust DARPA's technology, and that's why it's so important not to be fooled by deep state-controlled podcasters. They may not even know that what they are pushing can harm you. Their primary motive is profit, and they usually think they have sources with integrity. How can you tell? The easiest way is fear. If every time you listen to them, you feel scared or angry or suspicious, then look at the energy. Whether they are just fame seekers or shock jocks, they are creating a matrix of low vibes which not only impedes healing, but it causes disease. Contemporary brain-computer interfaces, including those developed by private companies with military potential, are also showing really rapid progress. So this tells us that the technology to hack our brains is also being developed by private companies. Devices like Neuralink's implants and Synchron's vascular stents have enabled paralyzed individuals to control computers or communicate using just their thoughts, with human trials ramping up in 2025 and beyond. Militaries in the United States and China are now field testing these technologies for things like drone swarms or direct soldier-to-machine links, tapping into mirror neuron systems and dopamine pathways for what they call a much more intuitive kind of control. Transcranial magnetic or direct current stimulation modulates prefrontal activity to help alleviate PTSD or speed up learning, taking advantage of the brain's ability to synchronize with external fields. This is the dominant frequency following that we've discussed. These technologies open pathways to profound power and influence. Focused ultrasound or pulsed microwaves could non-invasively disrupt vestibular function, curing or causing disorientation and vertigo. Many have speculated about various health incidents affecting diplomats in intelligence assessments as recently as 2025. Then there's chemicals, such as aerosolized acetylcholine blockers, which could heighten suggestibility when paired with psychological priming. These people have nanoparticle systems that are responsive to magnetic fields, which could allow remote activation of reward circuits in our brains, or inhibition of executive function, which would impact our motivation or decision-making. Remember, guys, it goes both ways. If they can mess up our decision-making and brain power, they can enhance it also. But having an understanding of the intricacy of the system highlights the need for absolute certainty in the security of these devices from dark beings. The brain actually has a modular design. The amygdala processes emotions. The hippocampus processes memory. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for planning. All of these nodes are exploitable, and you can bet that they've already exploited us in one way or another. How many people don't have memories of their childhood? I'm one of them. I remember almost nothing before we moved to Florida when I was 13 or 14. I don't know if my memory was wiped or not, but I was born on a military base and was in Catholic schools until we moved to Florida. I'll also link a video about this part of my experience, but they can mess with our memory. Mirror neurons are special brain cells that fire both when we do something and when we watch someone else do it. This is incredible. Let me restate that. Our brain fires cells when we watch someone else do something the same as they do when we do it ourselves. Talk about the observer effect. This could induce us to copy behaviors, emotions, and attitudes from the people around us. Think about TDS or Trump derangement syndrome. This natural monkey see, monkey do wiring makes it easy for groups to fall into the same thinking or actions, which is great for stirring up anger and dissent. This ability to copy leaves entire populations open to manipulation. When AI-powered algorithms flood social media with tailored misinformation, they supercharge this process by constantly feeding us content that triggers quick hits of dopamine, which is the brain's feel-good chemical. It makes outrage, fear, or tribal loyalty addictive, and the dark ones know this. Over time, this hijacks our reward system, pulling people deeper into extreme beliefs and radicalization, without them even realizing they're being steered. This is why it's important to not hate these people. They're victims too. In cognitive warfare domains recognized by some militaries, personalized propaganda or subliminal inputs could erode brain cohesion without movement or kinetic action. Officially, they tell us that no system yet achieves a total override of a healthy brain's autonomy. I don't believe it. They've got technologies like neurotechnologies with bidirectional interfaces, which is two-way communication between the brain and an external device. Optogenetics-inspired controls also exist, which use light to manipulate biological processes with high precision. And brain entrainment methods, as we've discussed recently, all point towards manipulated disruption, enhancement, and coercion. It's killing people, guys. That woman killed in Minnesota was a political activist. She and her wife were so triggered that they moved to Canada after Trump got elected, but then moved back. Such drastic actions aren't normal in people that have control of their minds, and she'd be alive today if she wasn't under mind control tactics utilized by the left. The brain's inherent plasticity is its greatest strength, and it's simultaneously emerging as both miraculous healing and profound vulnerability, engineered by dark beings. How do we know who to trust? Well, years ago, we were given very explicit information about how the Medbeds will be released, and nothing has changed. In fact, the Medbed video posted by Trump on Truth Social validated what we were told, so here we go. We have always understood that the Medbed project is exclusively government-led, under military oversight by agencies such as the Space Force or Earth Alliance, with President Trump directly authorizing phases via executive actions or classified directives. Medbeds will not be commercialized yet, and people are offering them right now, and they are absolutely scams, so don't waste your money, or worse yet, don't give them access to your brain. Phased deployment will start with underground or military-protected facilities seized from cabal sites in early 2025, and it's our understanding that these deployments have occurred with raids in February and March 2025, which uncovered hidden units. Phase 1 will be released to targeted veterans, children, vaccine-injured, and humanitarians. Public access will ramp up in stages. Tier 1 of Phase 1 will be veterans and active military. We are told that this is already occurring to some degree at bases like Eglin Air Force Base, with reports of sessions reversing injuries and restoring peak vitality. People are given dates of April for full rollout, but if I had $10 for every time somebody has circulated a bogus date, I'd be rich and I'm not. The newest narrative is that there will be 27 to 113 hubs in the U.S. in places like Montana, Texas, and Florida, which will expand globally. I cannot confirm that. Some accounts mention 23,163 units have been secured by October 2025, with self-replicating technology from off-world sources accelerating production. Not only can I not confirm that, but it is in conflict with my source, which has witnessed stockpiles with more than enough medbeds, so I see no need for replication at this point. We have always been told that the timeline is fluid and linked to financial resets, which I do believe is accurate. However, people have given dates of October 1st, 2025 for QFS activation and EBS announcements. That didn't happen, and if somebody continues to give you dates that don't happen, you need to wake up and realize that while they may be a good person, their sources are not. There were all sorts of predictions for the final weeks of 2025 for initial civilian waves, another dud tip. Then there are people saying that delays could push public access if critical mass awakening isn't met. Again, somebody is talking without knowledge. If you understand the implications of the release of medbeds, you will understand that nothing is going to push the release of the medbeds. Military operations such as the one that's underway to overcome the deep state don't operate on drama or pressure. Then there's operational details that were released that are consistent with what we've been looking at recently. The beds require consciousness resonance or brainwave training to activate. Some are saying that low-frequency individuals like those in fear or trauma loops are blocked. My understanding of dominant frequency following tells me that everyone has the capability to heal, even those with trauma or fear frequencies. It will take longer or perhaps not be as effective, but I believe that in most cases, these people will benefit. Having said that, if they are currently under some type of satanic or ritual control, there could be a way to intentionally block the beds. However, we know that there are humanitarians, like Melanie Charest, who are taking these heavy trauma victims off planet to protect them and give them extensive healing with medbeds. So I don't buy that trauma victims can't be or won't be helped. I'll link this video on Melanie's work also in the description. We've been told that priority will go to the critically ill. Locations might initially be in repurposed DUMBs or deep underground military bases which were turned into healing centers. JP described such an experience accompanied by military guards and biometric security. There are already deep state fakes designed to discredit or exploit, and commercial ones are often scams like Nigerian fraudsters pushing fake appointments or QFS wallets. I also did a video on a community member who we helped get away from a Nigerian medbed scammer. Here's some clues to be sure that you get access to government medbeds. Real access comes through official military or government channels, probably after an emergency broadcast. If there is any sort of upfront payments for an appointment, it's a scam. If it's a commercial sale, then it has nowhere the power of the official medbeds, but they could be effective in slowing down your disease or possibly reversing it, but it takes months, not hours. I was told that the Tesla biohealers take at least 3 months of use to notice benefit. All reports are that there's quantum security measures being required that might involve quantum secured codes, serial numbers, blockchain-verified registries, and frequency scanners, so if somebody is giving you an appointment without high-tech security measures, it's a lie. Avoid anything requiring money or personal data up front, and never give your information to someone over the internet or phone. You can prepare ahead of time to maximize the efficacy of your session by raising your personal frequency through awakening practices. I've got so much on this, guys. If you aren't sure where to find info, just ask, and I'll try to help with practices that you can try. But again, check the video description or the Medbed playlist on the Ex-Pharmacist channel page. Some major red flags are private bookings or appointments tied to trusts or wallets. They are fraudulent. True rollout is free, phased, and military secured. Wait for official signals like Trump announcements or mass EBS alerts to be sure that you aren't being played. This isn't going to be a secret when it's your turn. Yes, you can lose your life savings, but you can also lose control of your thoughts. The same can be done with drugs, so it's not as much about the technology as it is the people running it. Your discernment is critical. Right now I can't see it coming in April, but you need to know something. If you've ever studied the art of war, you realize how dumb it would be to release a date in advance unless it's strategic. The best warriors never telescope their intent, especially if the dark forces have one iota of influence. It's just ridiculous from a strategic viewpoint, guys. So please don't let scammers prey on your desperation. We can't control the release of the beds, but we can stop ingesting toxins, and we can align our vibrational energy with healing frequencies. The power is within us, and there is absolutely no reason to delay your healing process. It's slower and not dramatic, but I can tell you from experience that the healing is very real.